Welcome back to Wave It Dawker. This video is episode 11 of Waves Faves, taking on NFL Week 14. Last week I went 6-7, so we are standing at a 55-56 record, which is pretty bad. First time we slipped under 500 all year. This is very disappointing, but we're gonna improve this week. Only 2 teams are on a bye this week, so there are 15 games. So I could flip-flop, go to 60-57, which is still not very good. But I'm hoping that I can improve upon my record right now because, nothing's worse than being under 500. Let's just jump into it. Like and subscribe. Let's jump into these picks. First up, Thursday Night Football. I'm taking the Steelers over the Patriots. This game should be a pissing contest. Probably the first true pissing contest of the year. Actually, wait, no. Chargers-Patriots last week was pretty poor. 6-0. But these are 2 pretty subpar offenses. And I'm not actually sure who's starting for the Patriots. It might be Bailey Zappi. But we'll see. But in any scenario, I'm taking the Patriots. Oh, wait, and then Mitch Trubisky's starting for the Steelers. That's right. Yeah, this is going to be a really bad game. I'm thinking the score is going to be 10-9 Steelers. Next up is Falcons-Buccaneers. I'm taking the Falcons. I don't know. Something feels different about the Falcons recently. They had that win against New Orleans a few weeks ago. They beat the Jets last week. They just kind of feel like they're in a groove right now. So I'm going to take them over the Buccaneers, even though the Buccaneers are playing some pretty good football right now. Next up is Lions-Bears. I'm taking the Lions. The Lions have been a pretty interesting football team this year. I mean, they are 9-3, so they're a very good football team. But, they had that pretty bad loss against the Packers on Thanksgiving. They did win last week, I'm pretty sure. Yes, they did play last week. And they're going to beat the Bears this week. No real reason. I just think the Bears are kind of a bad football team. Next up is Bengals-Colts. I'm taking the Bengals. Jake Browning. He's the new Joe Burrow. Sorry, Joe Burrow, you're not going to be the starter when you come back. And that's my hot take for the day. I don't think that's ridiculous. But I am taking the Bengals. I don't know. They're playing good football, and I think they're hungry to, keep themselves in the playoff race. The Colts are also playing good football with Gardner Minshew at the helm. Shane Steichen, former Eagles OC, missed that man very greatly, especially with how the Eagles offense has been playing. But I'm taking the Bengals over the Colts. This should be a good game, though. Next up is Browns-Jaguars. I'm taking the Browns. T-Law is probably not playing this Sunday, and I think the Browns are just going to take advantage of that because T-Law's a good, quarterback, and the Browns, I think Joe Flacco's their starter, and he actually played, pretty all right against the Rams on Sunday, so I think he's going to play even better and beat the Jaguars. Next up is Saints-Panthers. I'm taking the Saints. Panthers are the worst team in football this year. Bryce Young's been sacked like 50 times. I think the Saints are going to sack him like 5 more times this game, and that's the only reason they're going to win. Next up is Jets-Texans. I'm taking the Jets. They're starting Zach Wilson. That's been a whole debacle this year. And Aaron Rodgers probably isn't coming back, so Zach Wilson's probably QB1 for them for the rest of the year, depending on how he plays on Sunday, so we'll see. But I think they're going to beat the Texans. That's my hot take pick of the week, and I'm just feeling it. Next up is Vikings-Raiders. I'm taking the Vikings. I think they're going to bounce back, because I think they had a bye last week, and they lost pretty bad to They lost to Denver, didn't they? 2 weeks ago, I think. I think they're going to bounce back over a Raiders team that's just kind of been there all year. Nothing really too significant about that Raiders team, but all besides like Max Crosby. Next up is Niners-Seahawks. I'm going to take the Niners. The Niners destroyed my Eagles last Sunday. I was at that game, and it was actually awful. I hated every minute of it. And I think they're just going to keep rolling because they are a very good football team. But when they see us again, they're not going to be as lucky. Next up is Bills-Chiefs. Pretty big game. This is probably the Bills' last chance to maintain, probably maintain relevance in the postseason, or maintain relevance with potential to play in the postseason. I think they're gonna see that chance and they're gonna grab it because the Chiefs shouldn't really be all too worried about the AFC West. Like if they lose this game, I feel like they're not gonna be like, out of it completely, or like not even close to being out of it. So I think the Bills are going to take advantage of that, and they're going to win. Next up is Broncos-Chargers. I'm taking the Broncos. And the Broncos are going to bounce back after their loss to Houston last week. They've been playing good football. And, Russell Wilson's really turning it around. Really turning around, the haters' opinions of him. And I think, good for them. I'm happy for them. So I'm taking the Broncos. Next up, big game. Eagles-Cowboys. Sunday Night Football. I'm taking the Birds, obviously. The Birds lost last week, but whenever the Eagles lose, especially Jalen Hurts-led Eagles teams, he is like 26-3 as a starter over the last 2 seasons or something. Ridiculous. They bounce back. and they see what they did wrong, and they capitalize on the fact that they did those things wrong, and then they change the narrative and they change themselves. Obviously, like I said earlier, I miss Shane Steichen. I'm not too confident in the Brian Johnson offense. That doesn't really seem very innovative, and they're not really doing anything, against the grain. They're kind of just, they don't really seem to be running the ball a lot, even though we picked up Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift in the offseason and got rid of, a guy like Miles Sanders. And, I thought we were going to have a retooled run game this year. And it looked promising, especially for the first few weeks, with DeAndre Swift having, those 100-yard rushing games and him being top 5 in rushing for the first, 10 weeks. But I don't know. I'm really hoping that he's able to change the narrative around him, because he kind of seems like he's on the hot seat, which kind of sounds crazy to say about a team that's 10-2 and, first in the NFC and has played, really good football. But, you lose to the Niners like that at home after, having those 3 prior games being very close, coming down to the wire games. You got to be we can't just play 30 minutes of good football. We got to play a full 60 minutes. And I was hoping that was going to change on Sunday, but hopefully it's going to change this Sunday, where we just kind of punch the Cowboys in the mouth and have a lead the entire game. That's the goal. Go Birds. Fuck the Cowboys. I'm taking the Eagles. And finally, the 2 Monday Night Football games. I'm taking the Dolphins over the Titans. That's just a pretty fair pick, I feel like. I'm not really sure what the Titans can do to really stop that Dolphins offense. And I'm going to take the Packers over the Giants, because Jordan Love has been playing really well, which has been cool to see after, all the hate that he kind of had to go through for his first few seasons as, the backup, and his first, 60% of the year as the first full-time starter for the Packers. He's been playing good football. I'm taking the Packers over the Giants because the Giants suck, even though Tommy DeVito's pretty funny. But yeah, those are my picks. Hoping to improve to above 500. That's the goal. That's the baseline goal, because we're 55 and 56 right now, which is just unforgivable. Those are my picks. Like and subscribe. I'm probably going to try to post a vinyl collection video sometime soon. Change it up, do something, against the grain. That's the goal. I'll see you guys whenever that's posted. Peace out.